Ordinary Average Guy Podcast Show. Yeah. Hey, everybody, it's Ordinary Average Guy Podcast Show coming at you, previously recorded from the Buxty Hootie Studio. Let me hear ya. We're taking callers. Isn't that hilarious? I can't take callers because this is a previously recorded podcast. So funny. Oh my goodness, people. I thought that making this podcast and then calling it the Ordinary Average Guy Podcast would be funny. And it is, I think. But I will tell you, when it comes to having ordinary average, being an ordinary average guy, this weekend takes the cake. I did about, I cut the grass. I dethatched the grass. I fertilized the grass. We cleaned out the garage. We swept up the garage so it's nice and clean. We took out all the patio furniture, and we got the pots in their places. Next week's Mother's Day. Next week's going to be all about planting flowers and all that bullshit. And it was just, at the end of the day, it's just like that song by Joe Walsh, Ordinary Average Guy, the song. Where he's talking about like cleaning the. I wasn't able to go. I didn't go bowling. That's the only thing. If I could have pulled off bowling, that would have been the cherry on the cake for ordinary average. Oh, we got tonight for this is Sunday. I'm talking tonight for supper. We got broasted chicken, which if you're from Wisconsin, I think you know. There's something about broasted chicken on a Sunday for supper is like... that's one of the reasons why I love Wisconsin. I wonder how it is in other parts. If you're listening from other states, let me know after I get through my little segment here. Let me know in the emails if you have anything similar, right? So in Wisconsin, Friday night, what do you do on a Friday night? You get fish, right? You go get fish, okay? Then it's a Saturday night. What are you going to do on a Saturday night? Oh, let's go to another Wisconsin staple, a supper club. You know, you go to a supper club and you have some old fashions. Then Sunday rolls around, and what do you do on Sunday? Well, then you get some broasted chicken. Now, I it's just that's one of the things I love about Wisconsin is that you have all these traditions kind of thing, and everyone buys into it, and I'm glad they do because it's pretty cool. So, like, what do you do in because, like, in Texas, if you're in Texas, you son of a bitch, hey, hell yeah, ride my horse to church on Sunday, god damn it. If you're in Texas, you eat barbecue. Oh, I got the Traeger up and going. I tell you, man, I was ordinary and average this weekend by the book. I got Saturday. I woke up at the ass crack of dawn, and I had a pork butt. Now that's one thing I need to study a little bit more is the terminology of meat. Pork butt, and then there, but I don't believe, but it's actually a shoulder, so they call it a pork. If anyone out there knows anything about meat, let me know. Drop me a line. But a pork butt is actually a pork shoulder, I believe, is it right? But they don't call it a pork shoulder; they call it a pork butt. But I believe, no, I'm just speculating here. a pig is a four-legged animal. Duh. And so where the ass of the pig is, but there's also a leg there, and the way the leg is shaped, would that also technically be a shoulder? But it's at the rear end, so it's a pork butt. I don't know. If someone's out there, tell me, if I'm correct at saying that a pork butt is a pork shoulder. I feel like that's an accurate statement. And then if that is true, why is it called a pork butt? If anyone's out there and can help me, I know there's tens and tens of you listening, baby. One of you has got to have the answer. But I got a pork butt that I had, and we threw that on the Traeger on Saturday. Little tidbit here for you. If you're gonna smoke a pork butt, I had it on there at 275. 275. I watched a video. Now I did some research on the internet, and I've seen things, 225, 250. Based on my research, maybe 275 was a little too warm. But the reason I did that is because I watched if you're going to get into smoking meat, there's probably a million YouTube videos you could watch, or specific channels, but I would highly recommend you watch a video, Meat Church. A little shout out to Meat Church. I think his name is Matt Pittman out of Texas. God damn it, we smoke our meat down here in Texas. And he's got his seasonings too. And if you go to a butcher shop, good chance you'll or I think it might even be like in Walmart maybe. But you want to know another thing I did this weekend? I went to the hardware store. I mean, guys, when you look up ordinary average guy, there is a picture of me with 2 thumbs up. I went to the hardware store, and I was, and while I was there, I happened to see Meat Church seasonings, and that's what I used. I used their, I think it was their Holy Voodoo seasoning on the pork butt. But anyway, 275 on the smoker is an 8-pound, 7.7 ounce piece of meat, and basically it came to 1 hour per pound. Actually, I took it off a little sooner than I probably should have. I just, I think when I took it off, I had an internal temperature ranging between 195 and 198, 199, and originally I wanted to get it to 205, but I was getting anxious and just couldn't wait. But it was delicious. It was good. But the bone that I pulled out, it didn't pull out as smoothly as the Meat Church dude. So, but like I said, it was good. The kids liked it. My son was like, "Ooh, this is good." And I was like, "Oh, you don't hear that often. You do not hear that often out of the kids." And the wife liked it. My wife's not, she's not like huge into that. When I met her, she didn't eat steak. Maybe she would have eaten a steak, but it wasn't her go-to. But over the years, she didn't like bacon. She did not like bacon. You might be wondering why I married her, but she's so good looking. So anyway, but over the years now, I got her eating bacon. She's eating steak. So like, a barbecue back in the day, it probably wouldn't have been her jam, but now she's into it. And she was looking at that pork butt and she was like, whoa, it was looking good off the smoker. Did that on Saturday, put it on the grill. Oh, sorry, smoker. I don't know if smoker people get upset if I use the word grill there. I wonder if that's a thing. I wonder if, people that are into smoking meat, if you were to accidentally call a smoker a grill, because I do grill food on it. Because I can get that bitch up to 500, baby. I think I get up to 500. I got an app on my phone here. Is it 500 or 400? Let's see once here. Grill. So can I just look at it? I know it's offline, but nope, can't even look at it. So anyway, did that on Saturday, and then on Saturday also I cut the grass. And now, okay, so I had an episode that came out a year ago, probably, and it was one of my most hated episodes. It was the how you take care of your grass episode. Well, anyway, if you go and listen to that episode, everything that I say in that episode, it's all garbage. And so it's obviously it was all a sham. Well, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe it's a little too early to tell. But my grass, I will say it's looking thick. There was a couple of spots here and there where it's like, man, it's just like, why isn't it thicker? But the majority, I would say 85% of the lawn is nice and thick. There's the occasional weed. There's an occasional little thing popping up here, but not much. That has definitely drastically gone down. But I did notice that there's a lot of like tall, wide leafed grass. And I was like, what in the Sam Hill? I thought I got rid of all that shit. Or that's what I want to get rid of. But I learned that, so I went to the hardware store. I talked to a guy named Drew. Shout out to Drew at Ace Hardware there. And the guy knew his stuff. He knew his stuff. And he was saying, yeah, dude, that what you got there is not crabgrass, right? So today's date is May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. To all you Star Wars nerds. Anyway, so he was telling me that crabgrass isn't even growing yet. That's what he said. So I FaceTime my wife and I said, hey, get out in the front yard and show this guy your grass. and he went out there, or she went out there, and he was like, oh yeah, you got like hibiscus. I don't know what kind, but it is a grass. It's not a weed, it's a grass. And it's a native Wisconsin grass. And unfortunately, there is only one way you can get rid of it. And it's not what I said on the video. So everything I said on that video, don't throw it away. It is good stuff. Do it to your yard. It is going to help. But the issue I have this year, 2025, is that I'm not fighting weeds, it doesn't look like. It doesn't look like I'm going to be fighting weeds per se. I'm going to be fighting actual grass. It's just not good old-fashioned Kentucky bluegrass. It's a native Wisconsin grass that's a little unsightly to the eyes. Unfortunately, the only true way you can get rid of it is by just taking Roundup to your whole yard and just killing it and just starting over, which I am so tempted to do. But my old lady is like, I'm not having no grass, So the next best option is to just, I guess, choke it out. So keep planting the Kentucky bluegrass, which I did last fall. So that's done. But fertilize, and just eventually the Kentucky bluegrass will hopefully choke out the stuff that I don't want. So we'll see how that goes. But I did, so I cut it and then I dethatched it, which, like I dragged I guess like a rake kind of thing behind my lawnmower, and I got all the dead stuff out of the soil and I sucked it all up. Shout out to my neighbor. He had a big trailer over in his driveway. He's like, hey, you can throw all your shit on my trailer. I was like, oh, thanks, dude. So shout out to him. And then I fertilized it with some Scott's, not weed and feed. Not weed. I did not use weed and feed. I used something else. It was orange. Not the bag was green, but the shit was orange. The pellets were orange. I don't know. So we'll see how that goes. Today what do we do today? We cleaned out the garage and organized it. We have on Monday, so tomorrow morning, where I live, we have a village-wide pickup, so you can put whatever you want out on the terrace. Anything you want. Dead bodies, couches, whatever. Other than electronics. I don't know if you can put electronics out there. So, because I didn't see anything, but everybody's throwing shit out on the terrace. And they're going to come by and pick it up tomorrow, so that, that's what we do every year. Around this time, we find all the crap that we don't want, throw it out on the terrace. I'm in the Bucksy Hootie studio right now, looking at, which is AKA the storage area side of my basement. And there's a lot of stuff down here that probably should have been on the terrace, but we didn't think about it. I'm looking at a mattress. Right now. What do you do? What do you even do? How do you even get rid of other than if you have a citywide pickup like I got? What do you do with a mattress? Because it's like an unwritten rule. You don't sell mattresses, right? Because of all the stains, all the bodily fluids, right? Right? You know what I'm talking about? And so I don't know. But it's a nice mattress. And why? Oh, I know why. Because my daughter, we got her a bed. It was like a twin size bed. And my youngest is still in a crib, and then she's ended up like sleeping with my middle daughter like all the time, right? They're like sleeping together in the same bed. They're little girls, not a big deal. And but anyway, that piece of junk from China bed, China. The wood over in China is not good wood, not like good old American wood. Because the bed cracked in half. Yeah, the frame of the bed just split right down the center. We got it from Wayfair. They refunded us 100% of our money. And I threw all that, a lot of that was on the terrace, for example. But then, because my two daughters are now sleeping in the same bed, and every night, one of us needs to kind of lay with them and read stories and all that stuff. We were like, you know what? Let's just get a queen size bed. So we got our money refunded. We went and got a queen size bed. And then we had to get a new mattress, essentially. So now we got this twin size mattress here, which is damn near brand new. And I'm just staring at it because I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. Because I see myself fighting with this mattress many, many times in my future. Getting chairs, tables. It's in front of the board games, so if we want to get... I'm looking at Clue. If I got to get Clue, I got to move this mattress. It's this mattress... I see me in this mattress. I see a lot of swearing. A lot of swearing in my future related to this mattress. But anyway, it's a nice mattress. I can't just throw it on the curb. So, cleaned out the garage, and then so yesterday we had that pulled pork. Today we cleaned out the garage. Then I went and got some broasted chicken from shout out to the bar down the road. And then we went on a family walk. And we got some ice cream. You scream ice cream. We all scream for some ice. No. You scream ice cream. We all scream for ice cream. And we did a little family walk and got some ice cream. There's a place down the road. Shout out to the ice cream shop down the road. I remember when I went to college. I went to college at UW Stevens Point. Pointers. And there was a ice cream shop in Point called Belts. That's what it's called. It was called Belts. And it was like a staple. And everyone went to Belts. It was always a long line. Same thing with this place down the road from me. It's called Frogs. It's called Frogs. Shout out to Frogs. And it's good. But it is just soft serve. I don't understand why these places... I mean, it's just soft serve ice cream. I don't understand that, like, why everyone's freaking out about it. Yes, it's good, but it is also, like, it's no different than the soft serve I get from Dairy Queen. I don't think. I'm not saying you shouldn't go to your local ice cream. I'm definitely not saying that at all. I'm just saying I never really understood, like, why everyone just, like, freaks out. Like, oh my God, it's that time of year. The ice cream shop is open. We gotta get ice cream. Oh my God. Yeah, there's nothing special about it. It is good, but ice cream is good. I like ice cream. I never really understood that. Why people just freak out about it. I mean, the line was long. Cars were just down the road waiting to turn in to go through the drive-through. Good for them. Fantastic. I love to see it, but that's one thing I never really truly... It's got to be maybe a seasonal thing, because it's not open all year long. So then when it is open, everyone just, like, loses their shit. That's gotta be the reason. But we got ice cream, and we did that whole thing, and I don't know. It was a good weekend. I like that. I like being ordinary and average. And I say that every week, right? Well, not every week, but when I sign off, I said it 5 or 6 times, I think, be ordinary and average. You don't have to be extraordinary. You don't have to do all this amazing stuff every weekend. Oh, look at me. I went to Chicago. Oh my God. Look at this Gucci purse I bought. It's like, I don't know. I'm more psyched about how clean my garage floor is. I'm more psyched about the power washer. I got a power washer next week, and I'm power washing the house, baby. And I got a power washer. I just got it out of the box. I got it 2 Christmases ago. And I just got it out of the box, put it together. I'm going to power wash the house next weekend. This is my plan next weekend. I'm not going to cut the grass at all this week. I'm going to get the fertilizer in the soil. I'm going to let that do its work. Hopefully the grass, we'll see what happens. I'm going to lay low on the grass during the week. Next Saturday, I'm going to get my ass up again at the crack of dawn, cut the lawn. And then after I cut the lawn, I'm going to power wash the house. And I got to get that done because next weekend we actually do have a pretty busy weekend with, like, family stuff. My cousin's in a play. I think he's I don't know what play it is. I forget. But he's in a play. My cousins, plural cousins are in a play, and we're going to go watch the play. And then we're going to go to my aunt and uncle's house, and, the mother and father of my cousins. And then I think they're going to do a little party. And then Sunday is Mother's Day, which I'm sure is going to involve buying flowers and planting said flowers. And, I don't know. But it's nice. It's nice working. It's nice. I like working. I'm looking at my hands right now. They're all calloused and shit. I got, they're all brown, from working hard. It's good. It feels good. My back hurts like hell, but feels good. Another thing we got going on. We are the proud new owners of 2 goldfish. Sir Swims-A-Lot and Captain Finn, I believe, are the names. Captain Finn and Sir Swims-A-Lot. Yes. Let me start that over. Sir Swims-A-Lot and Captain Finn. 2 goldfish that my son brought home from kindergarten. And I'll tell you what. the people at Petco are laughing all the way to the bank because these two fish are living in a mansion of an aquarium. Is there anyone out there? Can someone please tell me? Now, before all disclosure, my wife was on top of this, and she went and bought all the stuff. And if you think that I'm blaming my wife for like going overboard and buying all this stuff, I'm not. Because if I was standing right there next to her, I definitely would have done the exact same thing. We are one in the same when it comes to that. You could, if we had white gloves, you could sell us a ketchup popsicle. If we were, in a wheelchair, you could sell us running shoes. I don't know. But when my wife and I walk into a store, especially like a furniture store, literally, it's like we have signs on our neck that says, you can sell us whatever you want, and we're going to buy it. We went in, I remember when we bought our son's bed, we went into Steinhafels, shout out to Steinhafels, and we were just going to look. We were literally looking, legit, because we were thinking about buying him a bed. And we're like, well, and we had time to kill. Which is, time to kill. Isn't that just a great feeling? When you got time to kill. You don't get that often, especially when you're an ordinary average guy and you got frickin' grass to cut and houses to power wash and you got 3 little kids that want to play baseball. But when you got time to kill, when it comes at you, when you feel it, like, ooh, Jesus Christ, I got time to kill. Oh, fantastic. Anyway, we walked into Steinhafels just to get an idea of what's out there. We walked out, proud new owner of a bed. That's just the way we are. But can someone please tell me if it's true, if it's accurate, that 2 tiny little baby goldfish, why they need a 29-gallon tank? 29 gallons of water? And I just, especially goldfish. My son really wanted these goldfish, right? And I wasn't gonna say no. I'm not gonna say no to the goldfish. You want goldfish, you can have some goldfish. But I did. But I saw these goldfish in the classroom. Remember a couple episodes ago we had donuts with Daddy, and they were just in a small little aquarium. And I kind of thought like, oh, a little small little cute little aquarium. But then no. Because every goldfish that I've ever had that has only lived for a few days. Granted, every goldfish I've ever had, I gotten at a fair or carnival. So they probably had so basically every goldfish I've ever had was the equivalent of a heroin addict. So, but these goldfish are from a kindergarten class. These kids took care of these fish, and my wife was reading, and she's like, actually, goldfish, she was saying, can live for 15 years, and they can grow like really big, actually, if they have the right size tank. So, long story short, short story long, we have this big ass huge aquarium with 2 tiny fish. And then I kind of thought like, well, let's get some other fish also. Why have 2 little fish? It'd be cool to have like all these fish in there. Wouldn't that be cool? I thought in my head. But apparently like fish are extremely racist to other fish. And if you put 2 different fish in a tank, not only will they not get along, but they'll murder them. So if you think that us humans are rough on other races, you could be a fish. and it's not that they have their separate buses or water fountains. It's just pure murder. So anyway, um, so we have this huge tank and we only have 2 little fish in there. And I in my mind I was like, oh, it'd be cool to have all different kinds of fish in there, because I have seen that. I have seen aquariums with different types of fish, I believe. I mean, what about the gosh darn ocean and lakes? There's all different kinds of fish in there. Are they just constantly at war? I feel like Petco, Pet Shop, PetSmart. We went to all 3 of them. We went to every single. I didn't. My wife did. But she went to all 3 of them getting supplies, and I think they all. I feel like they might have fed her a line of bullshit. Which again, I don't want this to come off like that. I'm like, what the hell? Because I guarantee you, if I was standing right next to her, nothing would have changed. I would have opted for the water that they were selling from the Mediterranean Sea. And I'd have been like, yeah, we need that water, man. We need the Mediterranean Sea water. I definitely would have bought out of, like 6 of those. No, I would have bought, 6 of those 5-gallon Culligan jugs of special water. But unfortunately, we also had a funeral this week, because we did buy. So my daughter was kind of like, well, I want to fish, and we bought a betta. I think it was a betta fish, and her name was Sally. As you can tell, it was past tense. And so we had to buy yet another little tank for Sally, and we put that in the girls' room. But unfortunately, we couldn't put Sally with Sir Swims a Lot or Captain Finn because of the hardcore racism among fish. So we had to get her own tank, and unfortunately, she only lasted like 3 days. She was dead. And we were scared, man, about like what our daughter was gonna do when because she was dead. We knew it. But my daughter was like, "Oh, look at she's sleeping." I shit you not. That's what she was saying. She's like, "Oh, it's sleeping," and my wife and I are looking at her like, "This fish is dead," and so we debated like, should we just go get another fish quick? Because we bought Sally for like $5. And but then my daughter realized that she was dead, and we were nervous about that. But actually, it's kind of frightening. But my daughter was like okay with it, and not only okay with it, but my wife told me again, because I wasn't here for this, but my wife told me that she was actually like excited to flush her down the toilet. So, and I was like, oh, okay, we were thinking this was going to be devastating, but yet you were excited by this. So we're gonna have to keep an eye out on her. But yeah, Sally didn't make it. But a moral of the story is if you do buy a fish from the pet store, like I said, Sally was $5, and my wife made a comment. She was like, there was other betta fish there that were like $18, $19, but she bought this one because it was $5. So we wonder, like, did do the people at PetSmart, were they looking at this fish? Like, do they know? Like, do they look at this fish and like, oh boy, drop the price on that one because that one's gonna be a goner. That one looks ill. Because you can tell like a dog, if a dog looks ill, okay, the dog is ill. Doesn't have much time left. But a fish, how do you tell? They must, because that fish was on sale, and yeah, I don't know. But so we had 3 fish, now we're down to 2. But Sir Swims a Lot and Captain Finn are doing well. One thing I learned, I was watching them, and it is nice because they're in our living room, and I sit on the recliner, and I just hear the filter going, the water is trickling in there. It is kind of relaxing. Then there's lights in the aquarium, so you can turn the lights on at nighttime, and it is, it's cool. I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. And but I was noticing when I was watching the fish today, I had this realization as I was relaxing during working. I came in and I just sat on the old lazy boy for a little bit just to kind of regroup. And I realized something, that fish, they can't do that. Like, a fish can never just like lay down. I mean, is there anybody out there that's really smart with fish that can maybe help me out with this? Correct me if I'm wrong, but a fish legitimately is like always swimming, right? Or because maybe they're not moving, but they're just like treading water. You remember like in a pool where you just had to like move your hands real fast and stay in one spot? Like, that's essentially what a fish is doing. A fish can't just lay down anywhere. I've never seen a fish lay down. A fish is constantly, even like if it sleeps, like, I don't know. It's so fascinating to me. Like, a fish just can't, like every other animal can just like lay down and relax. And a fish can't do that. How does a fish relax? You know what I mean, man? You ever think about that, dude? Oh, my God. All right. 36 minutes talking about fish and sweeping my garage and getting a soft serve ice cream. I'm sure you guys are just at the edge of your seats listening to this fool talk. I am excited to say we are now going to go into the email/message part of our show, and I'm excited to say that I got five of them. Very happy about that. We're gonna go with the we are gonna go with again, you can email me at jkennoag@outlook.com, or you can find me on the Facebook at the Ordinary Average Guy Podcast Show and send me a message there. And that is exactly what Shannon did. Shannon says, "Hey, J. Ken." Hey, Shannon, what's up? She goes to say, what is your stance on store brand versus name brand? Do you have some must-haves? I need name brand Q-tips and Kraft mac and cheese. That's so funny you asked that. Yes, I am definitely a name brand kind of guy, without a doubt. I would say, for example, a staple in my childhood was Pop-Tarts, right? And my mom and dad always bought Kellogg's, and when I bought my own Pop-Tarts, I always bought Kellogg's. I would never in my life go to the store and buy, if I was craving a toaster pastry, I would never in my life go to the store and buy a knockoff Pop-Tart. Ever. Never do it. I would only buy Kellogg's. And I don't even look at the price tag. I don't even look at the price tag. And I'm not saying that I'm sitting here on a pile of cash. Well, I am, because I won that weight loss competition. Which the franchise still owes me $100. And if you're listening, franchise, I want that money. I want that money by the end of the week. Or you're going to have to talk to Tony. And Tony's going to take you out. All right, Tony, I got Tony here. Going to take you out back. Okay? He's going to take you out back, and he's going to make you pay with interest, if you know what I mean. You owe the Ken Man $100. Thanks, Tony. Now sit down. Shut up. Anyway, I don't even look at the price. Kellogg's Pop-Tarts is my go-to. I've had knockoff Pop-Tarts, and I remember, like, I don't know if you're like at a friend's house or you're just at someone's house or whatever, and they that's what they have, and it's just like, you just see it and you're just like, oh no, oh God, Why? Why didn't she just buy Kellogg's? To me, there's no. So that's for sure. Mac and cheese, yes. We are a huge Kraft mac and cheese family, and I got kids, dude, 6, 4, and 2, brah. All they do is eat mac and cheese, man. Come on, man. Get that yellow number 40, baby. Or whatever it is. That stuff that's illegal in Europe. Get that in my kid's belly, man. Come on now. And yeah, Kraft. Always go Kraft. We don't even bother with any other anything else. It's funny you say Q-tips because I every time I take a shower, when I get out of the shower, I always Q-tip my ears, you know. And I don't know what kind of Q-tips we have, but I do know that the Q-tips we do have always seem to bend really easily, and I never, ever, 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 ever remember that being an issue when I was a kid. And my mom and dad they're brand name people. They're huge brand name people. So I knew for a fact we had Q-tips when I was growing up, and I don't ever remember them bending. So I should talk to my wife about that and see what kind of Q-tip, because I could see her maybe buying off-brand Q-tips, and maybe we shouldn't be doing that because, like I say, every time I stick it in my ear and I kind of wiggle it around, she bends on me, and I was always just like, maybe like, well, they're in the bathroom, maybe the humidity of the showers screwing with them, but I think it might be because we're buying shit Q-tips. So thank you, Shannon, for bringing this up because that's something I need to look into. Pizza. We were always so loyal to Jack's. It's funny. Oh, the big one. Heinz ketchup. Heinz ketchup. I remember when I was in college. I didn't have a pot to piss in college. You know what I'm saying? And I still bought Heinz ketchup. And I remember my roommate was always like, one of them was always like, "Why you buy Heinz ketchup? You don't get no money." Blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, because there's some things in life you just can't budge on. And Heinz ketchup is one of them. Now, I will say that if you were to look in my fridge right now, this instant, you would see some organic non-Heinz ketchup. But that's only because I was really cutting back on the added sugar and I was trying to win that competition. But under normal circumstances, Heinz ketchup is a must. And yes, I'm the person that people say, "Do you want any fries with your ketchup?" Blah. I'm that guy, dude. I go balls to the wall with ketchup, man. So Heinz ketchup, and then there's the big one. I mean, but there is one thing that we actually buy store brand, actually, and that's milk. When we buy, the 2% milk or whatever, we that's the one area where it's like, let's save $2, and let's get the store milk. Eggs are the same thing. We always get like the store eggs. And what else? I'm trying to think. Yeah, but to answer your question, I am so hardcore into name brands. I love it. I love name brands. I love good marketing. Oh, orange juice. I went and got orange juice the other day, and like I was looking at all the orange juices, and it's like I'm going Florida Natural. I bought Florida Natural orange juice purely because I like the name, Florida Natural. Oranges, Florida. I like Florida Natural. All right, beat that to death. Alrighty, what do we got here next? We got some emails here. Let's open the email app. That's not the right email. There it is. All right, we got an email here. Oh, it's been a long time, but we have an email here from Dick Scratch. He goes, J. Ken, Dick Scratch here. Need you to unpack this. Oh, nice. I'm really liking these emails so far and the messages. This is what I'm talking about. I've been waiting 50 goddamn weeks for some emails like this. Sorry, dude. I'm just. He goes on to say, why is it that when I casually grab my wife's butt in the kitchen, she acts offended like she wasn't literally just walking around in leggings built by NASA to enhance curvature? Oh, yeah. Serious life questions. If you're gonna walk around looking like a snack, you can't get mad when I try to steal a bite. Amen, brother. I'm on your side, 100%. How is it that after years of marriage, a quick slap on the ass is still treated like I'm some pervert in a trench coat at a playground? Whoa. Looking forward to your take. Overreaction by my wife, or is this inexcusable behavior? Dick Scratch, I am also an ass slapper 100% of the time. If my old lady's got her butt cheeks with, I'm always slapping it, touching it. I don't know. And yeah, there's women out there like, oh my God, it's so like blah, blah, blah. But you know what? If I was a woman, I wouldn't get mad about that at all. Now, today when we were cleaning out the garage and I was sucking stuff up with the shop vac, and then I was sticking the shop vac. She didn't like that too much. She was like, all right, knock it off. I could see that. Or so I mean, maybe there's times where it just gets annoying. But I think that a woman should be happy when her man is, giving her a good, not beating her, but a nice slap on the ass. I think a woman should like that. And because what's funny about that is that when you don't do it, then they get all like self-conscious, like, oh, why aren't you flirting with me? Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I don't know, because every time I do, you bite my head off. You can't win with these people. But Dick Scratch, I'm on your side, man. I mean, she's your wife, or even if it's like a girlfriend, maybe not first month in, but let's say you're with a girl 7-8 months. I think that's about the time where you can start like, hey, how's it going, toots? Dude, yeah, how you doing? I think that's about the time you can start doing that, and I think that she should, like that, and but that being said, I will play devil's advocate on this because there is such a thing as doing it too much, because it just gets annoying, and that could be that's with anything, like I remember when I was in high school, freshman year. And I was trying to be, I'm a funny guy. And I was trying too hard to be. I still remember it. It's one of my biggest regrets. I was trying too hard to be funny. Trying too hard to be, the class clown. And I didn't want to be a class clown necessarily. I just wanted to be a cool, funny guy. And I just tried too hard. And after a while, it just gets more annoying than anything. And that's when I had to be mindful. A couple episodes, we talked about mindfulness. And realize, you know what? I got to dial it back a little bit. Sometimes less is more. Ooh, Jake Ken coming in with the big life lessons. Sometimes less is more. So, yeah, I definitely don't stop doing it. Because you know what? Because you're married. That's part of marriage. But maybe don't do it so much, because maybe it could be one of those, hey, just getting kind of old after a while, So that's, like I have thought that before, like, all right, I'm going to, cut back on the ass slapping here, and less is more. And then when I, do it, it'll be more meaningful. So, But that is one thing, he just walks around these yoga pants. Like, my God, it's like they should be illegal. They should be illegal. But I don't want. But I don't want them to be illegal. Obviously not. What the hell am I talking about? Why would I want such a thing? Stupid. All right, we got our good buddy, the Sauce. The Sauce is always good for an email every single week. I think this is like 11 weeks in a row. Thank you, Sauce. Appreciate it, buddy. He has an email. Oh, yes. By the title of the email, I can already tell this is going to be a good one as well. It's called Dating Later in Life. I hope everyone's listening at home. These are the emails that I want. I want to help you. I mean, did you hear what I just said in that last email? Less is more. That's gold. That's gold. You don't want to talk to a psychiatrist. You don't want to listen to some CEO of some Fortune 500 company give you life lessons. No, you don't. You want life lessons from an ordinary, average guy sitting in his basement next to a mattress. That's what you want. The Sauce, dating later in life. He goes, Jay Ken, it's your boy, the Sauce. How you doing, Sauce? I have a show idea for you. Nice. You could have a podcast about dating later in life. Okay. I assume that you were like me and thought you would be married with children at 25. Well, I think I was. How old was I when I got hitched? What the hell am I now? 30. Oh my God. 37. Take away 9. 20. Okay, so I was 26. I got married in 2016 and I was born in 88. So that'd be 12 plus 20. 12 plus 16 is, was I 20 when I got married? Oh my God. I don't know. Anyway, yes, Sauce. I know where you're going with this. I thought the exact same. He goes, I know that my brother also started his family later in life. And since I am still dating in my 40s, I would either like advice or even try to give a little bit of knowledge I have learned throughout the years. Just a thought. Well, I'm telling you what, Sauce. For the low price of what the hell is this Zoom thing called? A Zoom thing costing me for the low price of Audacity is $0. I use Audacity. Podbean. Was it Podbean that I use? That's like $100 for the year. That's a hub. That's a hosting site. So you put your podcast on there, and then it goes to all the platforms. This microphone here is a Maono. I don't know how you say that. Maono. I don't know how you say it, man. But it was a cheaper one. But I think I'm really happy with my audio. And then I got this Zoom PodTrack P4. Now, my audio, I will say, and I think that's why my 10s and 10s never turn into hundreds of hundreds, because my audio is a little poor. During the I would say episode 30 through episode 25 through 35. I thought my audio was really shitty. But then I got this Zoom, and I think my audio is pretty good. Anyway, what I'm saying, Sauce, is that for the low price of $250, you could probably get into the podcast game, baby. And then you can have tens and tens of followers. But anyway, I have learned throughout the years, just a thought, the draft on Thursday was an experience, but they did run out of beer. Oh my God, come on. This is Wisconsin. Oh, hearing that just makes me so pissed. Come on, man. This ain't frickin' anywhere. This ain't Denver. This is Green Bay, Wisconsin. Can't run out of beer. It was cool to see once, but it's one of those things that I wouldn't have to go back to. Interesting. That's a good thought. But you want to see it, but it's like, now I did it. I'm good. I like that. Your friend always, the Sauce. P.S. Anytime you need a co-host for a wrestling podcast, I'd be happy to. Although I think our likes and dislikes through wrestling history vary quite a bit, it may make it more interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I'm a WWF guy, so I don't know. Are you a WCW guy? Because yeah, then it would probably be a poor podcast. But if you're a WWF guy, I don't know why. I think it would be. Well, maybe that's something we would have to talk about. The dislikes and the likes. I don't know. But yeah, dude, I think that would be killer. But anyway, you're back to your that whole dating later in life. I remember, yeah, like because growing up where we grew up, like shit, dude. My mom and dad were married young, very young, too young, maybe, as some would say, and but it worked out for them, and I just assumed that that's how it went, and some advice that I have here is because I always wanted to get married and have kids. There was never a thought in my life of growing up and not having a family. That was never a thing. And I remember when I was a kid, my uncle, I was older, but my uncle, I think he was like 40 when he got married. And I just remember like, wow, that's old. But now that I'm almost at that age and I probably have more friends that are bachelors than I have that are married. And that just blows my, and I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm just saying that that's the way it is, I guess. I don't know. But I mean, because I didn't know many single people growing up. But that makes sense because my mom and dad were married and they still are. And their friends obviously were married people. So I guess I didn't see, quote unquote bachelors growing up. But, it is what it is. And nowadays with women, and I don't want this to come off the wrong way, but women are into careers and stuff, right? They're into careers. They're not into having kids at a young age, like years ago. And that's just, not that that's right, not that that's wrong. It is what it is. So it's just I think it's more common nowadays where people are just not. And like when I take my kids to school, like all the other parents are my age or even a little older, actually. And I felt like I was late to the game. And like I look around like, geez, people are older than I am. We got kids the same age. It doesn't make any, it's like people are just waiting longer. But I remember, and I think I actually said this on the show, but when I met my wife, I just told you just got to stop trying, which is weird. But anything in life, when you stop trying and you just do you, and then things just kind of fall into place. You know what I'm saying? And because I remember when I was like in college and stuff, I might have, because I had this vision of like, I got to find a wife. I got to find a wife because I also wanted to have kids younger, so I wasn't this old dad. And yeah, man, if anything, it probably scared the women off. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But yeah, it is what it is. I mean, eventually it's going to happen, and it happens when you least expect it, So, that's my advice. We have a email here from Mel. Mel is usually a person that's good for an email or two every couple of weeks. Appreciate that. The email is titled FOMO. I'm guessing in regards to last week's episode. She goes to say, so you asked for advice on FOMO. I'm going to pull out my therapy cards here. I think what you're touching on is deeper than FOMO. Interesting. She goes on to say, I think you are, quote unquote, old school. I have been known to have an old soul. So yeah, I like where you're going with this. I think you are old school in the sense that you just want all humans to connect. You're going to make a good therapist. I'll tell you that, Mel. Like the old school neighborhood style. This is exactly a concept touched on in the book I recommended to you last time in The Myth of Normal. It talks about how we are missing this piece in our lives with all of the technology nowadays. Our human instinct actually needs, all caps on needs, human connection, and actually plays a role in our mental health, which in turn affects our physical health. You nailed it! Exclamation point. Well, thank you. I usually nail a lot of things. I'm pretty good. I am with you and think this stuff needs to come back more. As far as the draft, I wish I would have went to that also. So, okay. I like that whole email. I'm going to talk about it real quick about the draft. Everyone was saying it was a once in a lifetime thing. I don't understand. Maybe if you're 70 or 60 or maybe 50, but if you're my age or like in your 40s, I can't see how it's not coming back unless someone knows something unless I totally missed something. But it blew expectations out of the water. There's only 32 other cities, and New York, and Los Angeles are doubled up. There's only 30 other, well, not including Green Bay. There's only 29 other cities that the thing can be in. So I guess I don't understand why, like when I'm 55, 60, this ain't coming back. And then in that particular time, I'll be in like prime. Kids are up, growing up. I'm going to the draft. So, dude, it's coming back. I'll be going to it. But anyway, yes, Mel, I love your email. You know, I agree 100%. I agree 100%. People just don't. I went to my dad's shop today because I keep my garden tractor there over the winter, and then I had to go get it, and I borrowed a trailer, and then I had to return the trailer. Which, FYI, I know I've said it once before, but I don't want to pat myself on the back too much, but when it comes to backing up trailers, I might be the best in the world. I don't even back up trailers that often, maybe a few times a year, but every time I do, it's like something takes over my body, and I'm just like, boom, weaving it in there, backing it in, no going forward, no going back, it's just like, boom, beautiful, right where it needs to be. I mean, I've never driven an 18-wheeler, and I'm pretty confident that I could get into an 18-wheeler and back that bitch into the loading dock first time. You know, and everyone would be like, wow, you must have been driving semi for years. I'm like, first time, bro. And they'd be like, what? I don't know what it is. I just am so good at it. But anyway, I went to my dad's, and it was at his, he has a shed or a shop or whatever. And there was a guy over there. His friend stopped in to talk. And I remember growing up, that was always a thing. Like, people would just stop in and talk. And then my mom would be like, geez, do they got to come over at supper time? But that's just something that would happen all the time. People were stopping in. And I remember when I was a little kid, I'd be with my dad, and we would just go places and just stop in at places, and just, that was always a thing. And I'll be, and it just doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Can you imagine just going to somebody's house right now? Can you, like, just imagine, like, just going to somebody's house unannounced and just knocking on the door and just saying, hey, how's it going? What you doing? That always happened. We always did that. My grandma and grandpa, I remember Sundays were visiting. You would visit my grandma and grandpa, right? So so this would have been like in the 50s, or maybe even the 40s, maybe 50s or something. definitely the 50s for sure, maybe even, or well, it was probably always a thing, but they recalled this happening during the 50s. But it would be like on Sundays you would get dressed up because they were farmers, so you do your chores, do all that stuff, you get dressed up, showered up, and then you just go visiting. That's what you would do. You just go visiting. You just go to somebody's house. You probably didn't even know who. You just drive around like, Gerald's home. Let's stop in by Gerald. And he would say stories, they would be sitting in the house, and all of a sudden the car would be driving up their driveway, and they'd be like, oh my God, the Hendersons are here. We gotta, where's the stuff? And they would have to, and then, it wasn't something that you were upset about. You welcomed it. And yes, if you're asking me, do I wish life was like that? Yes, without a doubt. I have always said it. I don't think my wife would agree with this, and I'm sure she wouldn't be happy with me saying this, but I have always said that my door is always open. Not literally, so don't come and rob me, but it is like, just come. Stop over. I would be so happy. I remember one time, a friend of mine, well, actually, it was you, Mel. It was you and your husband. You were at a wedding in Appleton, and I remember I got a call, and you guys were like, hey, you guys home? And I'm like, yeah. And we're like, yeah, we're in Appleton. We're at a wedding. We're leaving. Mind if we stop in? And I just remember being so happy. Especially because I live, not that far away from everybody, but still, kind of, it's not like I'm just in the same neighborhood. So it's like, sometimes I just get lonely. I got a wife and kids and I got all that stuff, but sometimes you just miss the interactions of friends. And I don't have any friends where I live. But, so yeah, I miss it. I miss it 100%. And I wish it would come back. And it's never gonna, unfortunately, because yeah, I mean, essentially we do that. It's just on the stupid computer. Essentially we do just stop in. It's just on Messenger. And you're just like, hey, Bill, how's it going? And you talk on Messenger, or you know what? That's not even a thing anymore. Like, no one even like in high school, you talk on MSN Messenger or something like that, or now it's on Facebook Messenger. And now you don't even do that. Now you just send reels back and forth, and which keeps sending them because they're funny. But I don't know. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I don't. What are you gonna do about it? Like. Human, like, hey, you went to school for this stuff. You're the therapist, and you're telling us that humans need interaction, and we're not getting it. And I would like to see the numbers on mental disease because of that. I would like to see the numbers on that, please. So, moral of the story is, I would like to make that normal again. How do we do that? Tens and tens. How do we do that? How do we make that normal where you just, the old stopping? Is it possible? Can we do it? Huh? Is this going to be the revolution? Is that the word I'm looking for? Revolution? The bringing back the stopping? I'm telling you right now, if you know where I live, I'm game for the stopping. Stop in. My old lady might not be, and she may get a little bucky. But you know what? We'll just stay out in the garage. I shouldn't. My wife would probably love it too. I guarantee it. Because like I say, we don't. I don't know. It kind of sucks. And our neighbors. I always wanted cool neighbors. And I'm not saying my neighbors aren't cool. They're very nice. Our neighbors just stopped over yesterday. They just stopped in and gave us some sidewalk chalk for the kids to play with. That was really nice of them. But and there is a couple down the road that more my wife, because they're in like the same group, Momco group or whatever. So, now that it's going to be summertime, we can hang out with them. There's another couple that, like I said, we were trying to, not really working out. But I don't know. and there's another couple down the road that just moved in. But it just seems like everyone's like nobody is like everyone is so like I don't know. It's like if you say hi to somebody, well, I just said I guess I'm contradicting what I said last week, but I don't know. We're not. It's just I don't know. I always wanted friends that were neighbors to stop over and drink beers in the garage and just like King of the Hill. I always wanted to be King of the Hill, but I don't know. Maybe it wasn't meant to be. Maybe it wasn't meant to be. So I just sit here in my. So that's why I sit here in my dungy basement talking into a microphone all by myself. This is actually kind of turning into a sad podcast. Sorry about that. Here we got an email from our good buddy Lou Sassel. Lou Sassel experienced FOMO once. When I was in college, I lived with my best buddy. He planned a spring break trip to Florida with a bunch of buddies. Lou Sassel wasn't invited and had to stay back by himself. That made Lou Sassel very sad. Well, Lou, I'm sure that your old college roommate feels very bad about that, and I'm sure. I hope that your college roommate has changed and became a better person. But just a follow-up question, Lou. So you guys were best buds in college, but like, I'd have to assume that you were sticking around every weekend, right? Like you guys were always sticking around and going to parties and doing stuff like that. I mean, right? Like, would there couldn't have been any reason why your college roommate maybe wouldn't have thought you wanted to come. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just curious, Lou. Like, you were always there every weekend. You were never like going home, were you? Or going to other college towns to party with other friends. I'm curious. You might have to follow up on that one, Lou. I'm curious. All right, those are the emails. Thank you very much. Unordinary opinion. I really don't. I'm running out of these unordinary opinions. I think this is episode 50. It's like it's hard to come up with 50 things that are different. I don't know if I've ever said this one before. I probably have. The Saint Anger album by Metallica. Everyone just is always like, it sucks. Snare drum. I don't like it. Stupid. Dumb. What were they thinking? I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. I like it. I like the record. I listen to it often, actually. I don't listen to, not all the songs are winners, but I don't know. I think it's cool, and I respect Metallica for doing something different. Not just sticking with what they always did, and trying something new. And the thing is any other band would have came out with that record, it wouldn't have gotten the hate that it got. Like if any other band came out with that record, it would have been like, oh yeah, that's cool, man. You hear that new band? Yeah, that's cool. I like that. But because it's Metallica. And and that's well, this isn't what they always do. Meh. So I don't know. That's my unordinary opinion. I like the Saint Anger album by Metallica. So song of the week. So we were talking the last 2 weeks. We were talking about Lil Wayne, and I don't know much about Lil Wayne, other than I do know he does not suck on lollipops. But we talked about that record he came out with. It was like a rock, more of a. I mean, it's really. I don't know. I mean, it's not really, but it kind of is, I guess. But I remember the song. I think it was a single off that record, and I remember listening to that all the time when it came out, and I thought it was cool. I thought it was cool, dude. I thought it was cool, man. And when I was talking about Lil Wayne the last 2 weeks, I remembered that. I remembered, driving down the road and jamming out to that song, and because I'm not really into rap or hip hop, but I don't know. I really liked that. So the song of the week, I want you guys to try it out. I want you to listen to it with no kids in the car. And make sure you listen to the dirty version because it's really not that good unless you get the swearing. Otherwise, it's just a lot of, there's a lot of swearing. So there's a lot of like silence if you listen to the clean version. But the song is Drop the World by Lil Wayne featuring Eminem. All right, that's the song of the week. That's a definite Windows Down Radio Up song, all right? If it's not your thing, I want you to give it a shot. Try it, all right? Color outside the lines a little bit and listen to Drop the World by Lil Wayne featuring Eminem. And that is the song of the week. I thought this frickin' podcast was going to be like 30 minutes long, and it ended up being really long. So I want to thank my local ice cream shop. I want to thank Steinhoffels. I want to thank Q-Tip. I would also like to thank Kellogg's Pop-Tarts. And I would like to thank you to the 5 folks that emailed. Those were fantastic emails. Fantastic emails. I loved everything about it. I hope you guys have an ordinary and average week. If you know me, I mean that as a compliment. I mean that sincerely. Ordinary and average week. That's all you need. That's all you need, and you'll be tickled pink. All right, guys. JKN out.